Hey junior class, this is Mr. Piskorski coming at you from room 122. You got the big deal day coming up pretty soon, taking the ACT. I'd like to offer you a couple of tips and hints for taking the math and science test. Here we go. Okay, so one of the first things you'll notice about the math test is that there are 7 different areas that are covered, and for the most part it's pretty easy algebra. Pre-algebra, elementary algebra, and intermediate algebra. Students who have completed your 2 years of algebra and your geometry, you shouldn't have much problem with most of this. The biggest problem you may have with math is it's use it or lose it. If you haven't done this in a while, that's going to make some of the questions a little bit trickier. Some things it mentions there about the math being different. You get to use a calculator. And another thing that makes it different is you're guessing out of 5 options rather than 4. So if you're not sure about the answer, you're a little bit less likely to be able to just pick it randomly. Some tips, some strategies to help you get through the math test. There's going to be 60 questions. Go through and answer all the easy ones first. Don't use up and waste time struggling with questions that you can't answer. There's going to be easy questions left at the end of the test. So go through, do all the easiest ones first from 1 through 60. Go back the second time, do the medium hard ones. Then lastly, use the rest of your time trying to complete the more difficult questions. A calculator can be used. Sometimes it is faster solving things in your head, so don't waste the time using a calculator. Make sure you also use a calculator that you are familiar with so that you don't waste time looking for buttons. Write in your test booklet. Make drawings. Rewrite equations in your test booklet, especially if you're having a hard time visualizing the problem. A lot of times in the ACT test, not all of the pictures are going to be drawn to scale, so you might need to rewrite those, redraw those, and get them to be to scale to help you visualize those. Okay, a couple of other tips as we move on is when you get a story problem, you should always reread the last sentence. The first sentence gives you information necessary to work the problem, but the actual question of what to solve is written in the last sentence. So when you're trying to figure out what to do, reread the last sentence. Working out the problems. Just do it like you would typically do your math homework. You read the question, decide what it's asking, figure out what you're going to do, then you come up with an answer. Hopefully when you come up with your answer on the ACT test, you can then match your answer to one of the answer choices given below. Make sure you don't fall victim to partial answers. In certain problems that have several steps to work out, some of the options are going to be answers to step 1, step 2, and so on. So you might see your answer down below, but you're not done working out the problem and you kind of quit on it too soon because you think, oh, I'm done, I see my answer down below. And so that's how they get you to kind of fall victim to partial answers. It's partially correct, you just didn't finish working out all of the steps. If you're not sure how to do, if you're not sure what the answer is, you can kind of use the plug and play option. Just as it says, we're going to plug in the options into the equation and see which one best fits. So you can try A, that didn't give me the answer. Try B, that didn't work. Try C, okay? If you're using that option, then what you need to do is always start with option C. Don't start with A and work your way down. Don't start at the bottom, work your way up. Start in the middle. If the answer you get is too big, the number you get when you work it out after putting option C in is too big, then you know it can't also be D or E. It's got to be either A or B. And then conversely, if you plug in C and the answer you get is the answer you get from working it out isn't right, okay, because it's too small, then you need to know, I got to go on and use something bigger. I got to use D or E, okay? So start in the middle, then you know which way to work. Otherwise, you might start with A, and by the time you figure out that your answer is the last answer, you've had to work it out too many times. When you have extra time, use your calculator to go double check the math on some of the easier problems that you did. Don't just close the book, okay? Go back and use the calculator on some easy things you flew through. That should be it to help you with the math. Eventually you just have to know the math, okay? But those are tips or hints to help you through all things being equal, to help speed things up. But eventually, yeah, you do need to just need to know how to work out the math. Good luck on the math.